Okay, so I wanted to make a quick change. Right now I'm noticing that when I go here, I don't think I want to say assign star, and this isn't working right now anyway. I think what I would like ideally would say to assign context so that it's just clear. Right now star doesn't really necessarily tell people. Then I'd have to have a different way of doing that. Can we just say assign context? Or I think I'll say carry context. And that way I can just give them a CC. The intention here is that generally when you're pairing, you want someone to stay on the pair when pairs are reset. And then when they're assigned a new pair, the person who was there from the previous day will be carrying context. And you just continue that cycle so that someone is always there from the previous day who knows what was done or was worked on, and they can carry context into the next day. So rather than assign star, let's make that update so that it's clearer what exactly that assigned star was meant to do anyway, because solo is pretty clear. So I'm thinking we should do it that way as well. So let's wait on that to work its magic. Come back and do that. Okay. So save pair in history. That was my next prompt. So right now this button doesn't work, right? So I want to implement that functionality. That's the prompt. And let us see if it actually works. Okay. All right. So that's been implemented. Save and delete handlers. Okay. So just to confirm, December 28th. Okay, so we see these are the current pairs. Although I'm not seeing that it is. That's nice. I can delete an entry. I'm not seeing any changes in the recommendation. It looks like it's just recommending the same things, but we'll come back to that later. For now, what I want to do is see if I make a manual update here and save that. Will that be saved to history? Okay. So it does. It also calls out that I'm the solo, which is interesting. I wonder if I remove Tim and save pairing, will it still tell me I'm the solo? Okay. Let's go with that for now. Come back and fine tune that. So the save parent button works. That was what we were trying to, and it's reflected in history. Some of the logic is interesting, but come back to that. Alright, also solo. Still my assigned star is not working, but that's the next thing. Alright, so implement the star system for tracking context carriers. Gonna run that. And let's see what happens. So basically here, like I said, the assign star functionality is not working right now. Just want to implement that correctly. Hopefully it should work now. I started doing this out. I started tweaking some stuff early on. I should have just run all my prompts sequentially. But, you know, we'll get there in the end. I'm just going to run everything and then come back and start making changes as needed. Right, we'll give that a minute to run and see what we get. All right, so star system implemented successfully. The toggle star function validates teammates on a board for allowing star assignment. Okay, so all right, so that's working now. And that's actually okay. Because if they go solo, then they also got a star. So I'm actually okay with that. That actually works. All right. That makes sense to me. And then I guess let's assign people stars and just ensure that they don't get assigned to floating pairs. So when I reset pairs, so we have them there carrying context. And when I recommend pairs, the context now switches, see? So Jiro, Viviana, and Kiko were previously the start, but when I reset the pairs, it switched, which is what we want, right? So so now we see Ugo is a star, and when we recommend pairs now, the new floating pair should have a star. Let's just ensure that. All right, that works as intended. Great. Should have just got too carried away. I should have just continued with my prompts. Next up, solo work management. So solo toggle logic and the queue. We need to make sure that's working as intended. So let us go and see now if we can get that to work. So turning solo on automatically assign a star to this teammate. They become the context carrier. Set is solo, move teammate to back of solo queue update. So all this now has not been actual functioning. So let's see what happens here. All right, so that looks like it's done. So now, let's see. Turning on requires being on a board. Auto assign star moves to back of queue. So if I put go solo. Turning off. Alright, so let's just say in there. Go solo. Just move me to the back of the queue. And then when we recommend pairs, opt out functionalities. That's not how that should work. I think we need to do some cleanup on this solo situation. Let's start with the easy stuff. I don't want the solo queue position being shown on the teammate cards. The only person that should have a solo queue position is whoever is in solo number 1. So whoever is next for solo. And it should basically say next for solo rather than a number on the teammate card, whether they're in the floating pair or on a board. This should not impact the solo queue in any way. That should remain as is and continue to show the rotating list. This is just for the teammates. On the current screen, it says that Riley C is next for solo, but his card does not say next for solo anywhere. Also, the solo queue positions should be, he's in number 1 position now. So as people are rotating from the top to the bottom, etc., the number position should also be updated on the solo queue. All right, so we're seeing what the issue there was. All right, it's added next for solo, so that's cool. So now teammates will show next to solo only when in the normalized position 1, and the solo queue panel will show proper sequential position. All right. So I need to be able to assign go solo to someone who is on a floating pair. Reason being that if they are a floating pair and they have go solo assigned, then they should be assigned by themselves to a board and not have a teammate when the recommend pairs happens. So how do I want to do that? Let me just think. That's going to be pretty complicated. No, let me think this through. So if I put Raleigh there and put go solo. Right, and then I do recommend pairs. Okay, let's deal with this issue first. I assigned Riley C as solo, but when recommend pairs was selected, it added a teammate to him. That should not be the case if he is solo. If he is solo, a teammate should not be added to his board. And he should remain with the carrying context until solo is removed, ended, and then someone can be added to his board. Let's move on to out of office management. Grab our next prompt. We'll just keep it moving. I think that's good for now, and then we'll work out all these kinks after we've implemented. We'll work out the kinks after we've implemented the all the functionality, because this does follow a sequential pattern, and I don't want to mess it up. Okay, so implement auto functionality. Okay, so let's get that one rolling. All right, looks like that's done. Some current board. Besides, so let's see. I opt out of solo queue. What does that mean? Oh, okay. Let's see. It's cool. Mark out of office. Okay. I attempted to mark someone out of office and got this error message. Why is it saying out of office board not found? All right, so I'm out of office. I'm back from out of office. Riley's out of office. And if I recommend pairs, I'll make Brad next to solo and Jiro here. And Brad's gonna go solo. And let's save that. next? Stream roles management. So this next prompt. So the streams, obviously streams here, you want to be able to add a stream to each team to identify what they're working on. So right now, this doesn't have any functionality. So we already have our panel there. I don't know why it's saying create a collapsible panel there, but we already have that. All right, so streams are now fully implemented. Add delete streams. Client issues. What? Client issues. API fix. Database enhancement. And one more. Front end fix. Front end fix. Okay, so we have streams created. Oops. I had the drag and drop functionality included in my prompt. Why was it not implemented? Here it is again for context. Along with other functionality that was missed. All right, so now looks like I can edit the name, actually. And then does that edit in on the board as well? Let's find out. Yep. All right, cool. So that works as well. And we see it's now in the history also, which is great. And let's move on to our next prompt. All right. Next up is the feedback form. Right now, I don't really, doesn't do anything, I should say. So I think I want to implement a modal there. And I'm going to store it in a database. I'm not going to do an email for now. So let's store, let's store in a feedback table in database for later review. Okay, so feedback should now work. I love this app, but the floating pairs still can't tell all right, so that should be stored somewhere in the database. Feedback, here we go. Okay. ID. So I just want to make sure that we are responsive across different sizes. I think Lovable does a good job about that, but let's see. I think I'll just add teammate button up here. Right, that looks kind of weird, right? Because the one for the pairs. All right, so I think we're pretty much all the way there with this one. A couple little tweaks here and there and things to clean up, but for the most part, we've got this working the way we want it. We have our streams. Sorry, this is in the way. We have our streams here. We can add streams. We can edit them. We can do the same with teammates. We can add and edit them. We see here a notification of who's next up for solo. And if we go ahead, let's say I wanted it to be solo myself, I would just drag myself there, and then I would say go solo. The star is now assigned to me, and I'm carrying context. I have also been moved to the bottom of the list, as you can see in the solo queue. And then I can go ahead and recommend pairs. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll probably have one odd person left out that we can assign manually. Okay, so recommended pairs. And then in this case, because there was an odd person out, it left them. So we can go ahead and just drag him here manually if we want. We don't have to assign him solo, which is cool. Now, if we want to maintain his position in the queue, we can. But we would want to assign context so that, given that he's just the only one working there, he would have the context. And then we would decide who we want to carry context in each of these teams. Maybe we'll do Tim since he's next up to carry solo. And then we would have that set. We can save that pairing. And then when we come back the next day, we're going to want to reset pairs. Everyone who is carrying context should stay on here, including myself, given that I soloed. And then I might want to end my solo, which would then put me back on the board. So that's something I might add. If I end solo, I probably still want to stay here. So that's a good call out, because if I end solo now, it's going to put me back on the board. Anyway, so that's one of those things that I need to change. But let's just go ahead and do that, whatever. It's fine. So it's going to move me back there because I ended my solo. And then now I can recommend the pairs again, and everyone gets added. So again, a couple of little buggy things. Like I said, I need to rework that so that if I end solo, I do not automatically get sent back to floating pairs, because I might want to add someone to that stream to pick it up. So that's pretty much it. Pairfecto is built. Gonna try it out with our team, see how they like it. And hope you guys enjoyed walking through this full build with me. It was a lot that we went through, but hopefully it all makes sense, and more to come on how this is received.